Hey you, welcome back and thank you for tuning in. While Donna ADELSON sits in a diazepam daze, her trial is moving at lightning speed. It's almost as if Georgia is ready to get rid of Donna so that she can go after the next ADELSON. Speaking of ADELSONs, let's take a look at Charlie as he is transported to his mother's trial. It looks like the same van that Donna was transported in. No windows, just one dark van.
My man. Thank you so much, man.
Charlie?
Yes, sir.
Charlie's mask has been removed and the deadly dentist has been exposed, but he's still smiling. Will he testify? We'll have to wait until next week to see. But the state has rested its case and it put on one hell of a case. After all this time, I thought Wendy was going to be the one that was exposed during her mother's trial, but it's Harvey. In my opinion, if Harvey isn't guilty of participating in Dan's demise, he's definitely guilty of helping Donna try to fix this trial. The jail daughters, they showed up and they showed out. We had Patricia Bird and Drina Bernhardt. Donna's been hanging out with the hair braiders. And Drina had a bit of a Lori Vallow-esque high ponytail, like a Priziana Grande, like an Ariana Grande high ponytail. And she was the closest to Donna. They spent a lot of time together and Donna considered her her daughter, her jail daughter. But Donna would soon find out that there was no honor amongst thieves because while she was paying her prison daughters off, they were running to the correctional officers to tell on her. She didn't find this out until trial, while she was sitting there watching them testify, and Patricia was directly asked by Georgia, "So, when did you go and report this to authorities?" Immediately. Donna promised these women a whole new smile if they only got on stand and said what she needed them to say. So, all of the prison daughters, they knew Katie. They, as you can imagine, had been locked up in the facility for years. So they're watching this whole fiasco from behind the bars. Now, the murderous matriarch is arrested and she's placed in the prison with all of the girls. So Katie's moved to another prison, but once she finds out that Katie had been at that prison and actually knew some of the inmates, her murderous wheels got to turning and she thought, hey, I'm going to offer these girls my new jail daughters. I'm going to get them under my wing, pay them, and have them just say what I need them to say. Blame Katie for everything. So, Priziana Grande goes on to detail how Donna wrote her a script. She wrote her a literal script and told her what to say to authorities. We had handwriting experts on the stand, and they read every word and compared every T that was crossed, every I that was dotted, and it was Donna's handwriting. She wrote the prison daughters a script. Now, Priziana Grande, she said initially she was in this for selfish reasons. She wanted to get a lighter sentence for what she'd been incarcerated for. But after spending time with Donna and hearing her reasoning behind what she did, she felt that the Markells deserved justice. So, apparently when you go to prison, everyone is like, hey, how you doing? What are you in for? What'd you do? What did you do? And they asked Donna the same questions like, oh, are you guilty for what they're accusing you of? And Donna said, yes, but it wasn't supposed to go that far. I did it for my grandkids. They were just supposed to rough him up, but it went too far. While the state rested its case, it's still unclear what Donna's defense is going to be. Her attorneys just keep alluding to Wendy and saying there's no evidence on Donna, but there's tons of evidence on Donna. I think she didn't even realize that it's so much evidence on her. You can see it in her face as she's sitting there. I think it's like at this moment, she knew. She knew she really messed up this time. Similar to the face that Charlie was making in his trial, and his trial where he was railroaded, as he says, in Tallahassee. The state has laid out an excellent case. Donna's definitely going to need a back rub from her 6'3" friend back at the showers in the facility. I saw a comment that said Charlie probably really doesn't want to testify against his mom, unlike Wendy, who was a witness for the state instead of for her mother. Charlie, he seems like he's going to testify on his mom's defense, and it's tricky because he is still awaiting his successful appeal and release, so he has to be very careful once he gets on the stand what he says. But the comment said that this could be the last time that Donna sees any of her children ever again. Once she's convicted, which I believe she will be, she possibly won't ever see her children again, in person other than behind bars. Dan Markel's mom, on the other hand, won't ever get to see Danny again. And sidebar, I don't like how Wendy and Donna's attorneys call Dan Danny. It just seems like really condescending after just seeing the depths that they went to take him away from his children. He just wanted simple things like to Skype his kids at night and tell them bedtime stories, and he wanted them to have like a religious foundation, do good in school, just pretty much basic parenting. But just because mom wanted to live near her family, the children were robbed of that. However, Dan Markel's mom, again, she's been through this so many times, being that Donna is the 5th person arrested for her son's murder. She today wore some very dark sunglasses in court. I can imagine her eyes are swollen and red, looking at Donna and her children and hearing the things that we've heard. There's new text messages that have been released. We'll go over those, but let's talk about a little more what the prison daughter said. This is Patricia, and Patricia said her and Donna used to literally sleep like elbow to elbow. They were bunkies, they were besties, like that was one of her daughters as well. And she promised her land and money and new teeth. Yes, new teeth. She promised her that she would have a totally new smile if she just got on the stand and told her story that she scripted out for the jury. And the jury heard that. Georgia said, so this is what she wanted you to come in here and say to this jury. And the camera panned over to Donna, and she just looked like a train was coming her way. But Patricia, she immediately went to authorities and told, and she did that separately from Drina. They both turned on Donna. I guess Donna's a big fish in there. So they turned on her and were still getting taken care of by Donna. She was still paying their commissary and for their phone calls and taking care of them actively while they were being informants and telling on her. That's where Harvey comes in. Drina, when she got on the stand, she said that all of the money that she was to receive was going to be Zelle, and it would be sent through Harvey. Everything was going through Harvey. And Harvey was sitting there on the front row, and he started taking notes and put his head down. That was one of the first times I saw him do that. He usually would sit up like, a proud bird. The first day of trial, he was joking and playing with the cameras. But by the second day, the smile was wiped off of his face completely. The other prison daughter, she was promised a grand piano, $10,000, new teeth, and all sorts of things. Donna was willing to pay big money for these girls to point the finger at Katie, but she used the same extortion plot as Charlie. That's what made it look like it's directly coming from her. The girls couldn't have made that up. The lingo that she used, it specifically sounded just like Charlie. And do you guys remember Charlie's old roommate, Jerry, Dr. Obed? Yes, Katie used to work for Dr. Obed at his office and really used to work there. Like, not pretend like she did with the ADELSON Institute, but she got on stand and said that Dr. Obed Donna said that if she ever needed any pills or drugs, she can get a prescription for her with no problem from Dr. Obed. So, Jerry, he needs to look out because he can get in trouble for that. The implications alone can trigger an investigation, or just someone should look into him and his practice. So, speaking of Charlie, after his trial, this portion of the trial just spoke to Donna trying to run to the Vietnam, where she almost got away, but she was caught right at the gates. She wanted to get an emergency visa, a 30-day visa, a 90-day. She wanted an emergency visa for Vietnam. One-way plane tickets, and she was ready to dump everything in her life, all of her ties to America, all of her property, everything, even the child support. For some reason, she paid Charlie's child support, so she even arranged for that to be taken care of by someone else. So it really looked as if she was going to run, but she said she was just going to take a vacation. Still, she's sticking to it. They read their text messages when Charlie was convicted. Donna texted Wendy and said, "We have a verdict." And Wendy said, "Call me if you can." And Donna said, "Your brother protected you for years. Now you are not guilty. Your lawyer really took very good care of you. Bury me in the dress that I bought for little man's bar mitzvah." So she had thoughts of deleting herself after Charlie was convicted. And I guess instead of deleting herself, she decided to run to the Vietnam. She also texted her and said, "Your lawyer didn't want you to know what happened. I think if you did, our relationship with Charlie would be much different." What do you guys think she means by that? Is that insinuating that Wendy was unaware of the plan? Or what do you think? Are there secrets between them? What could she possibly mean by that? I think if you did, our relationship with Charlie would be much different. I hope he knows what he's doing. Your testimony was crucial. Let's see what happens. We also have to look at this through the lens of maybe they know that they are under surveillance, so she's typing kind of cryptically to seem like Wendy doesn't know what's going on. And of course she doesn't know what's going on because she's just an innocent grandma. It's all about Wendy. I think her mind was all about protecting Wendy and keeping Wendy safe and free of charges, any charges. But the messages definitely show that there was some shady business going on with the Adelsons. And Wendy, she had to know, but she was very clever not to leave a paper trail. Wendy's an attorney. She's practiced in law. She works in courtrooms. Her ex-husband was a great attorney. So I'm pretty sure she knew that all of those emails, all of those calls would circle back if something happened. And boy, did it happen. Not as fast as the Markells would have liked, but it happened in due time. And now everyone, one by one, is being held accountable. And without Wendy involved in any of the documents, the evidence, the paper trail, even Harvey is named in the evidence. He's transferring money. He's paying people off. He's trying to flee the country with Donna. But Wendy, there's only suspicion around Wendy and motive around Wendy. But she was very sure to, I don't want to say keep her hands clean, because in my opinion, she definitely has unclean hands, but she was just really careful and clever to only let her family implicate themselves. And implicate themselves, they did. Donna and Charlie could not stay off of the phone. In turn, Charlie and Katie couldn't stay off the phone. In turn, Katie and Sigfredo couldn't stay off of the phone, and then Sigfredo and Luis couldn't stay off the phone. That's what this trial is mainly focused on, the domino effect. And unfortunately for Donna, she was mainly at the top of that chain. She would call Charlie and frantically tell him how Dan needed to be neutralized, pretty much. And Charlie would call Katie, and Katie would call, and the domino effect would continue. And then we have her eldest son, Robert, detailing all of these creepy interactions with Donna on the phone. For instance, she called to inform him about Dan's untimely assassination, and she's like, hey honey, how you doing? Great day at the office? Dan, he was shot today in his driveway. Someone knocked on his door and said, are you Dan Markell, and shot him. And he's like, wow, who, how do you know this? Where are you getting this information from, Mom? Like, that seems like something that only the killer would know. The authorities wouldn't even know that. And she would, I don't know, okay, I heard it from somewhere, but I'll give you a call later. Just want to let you know. Bye. His testimony was riveting. Can we say glued to the TV? Popcorn? Yes. Unlike when his sister, Wendy, damsel in distress, as he called her, when she was on the stand, she couldn't remember anything. I don't remember, but if that's what you say, then yes. I don't recall. She couldn't remember anything. Luckily, she spoke in the past so much that all they had to do was just tell her, page 6, page 46, paragraph 3, section 1, right there. Do you see it? That's what you said. That's what Georgia did to her the entire time she was on the stand. Fact-checked her the entire time. And Wendy looked very uncomfortable, but it really looked as if a lot of circumstantial evidence was pointing towards Wendy. Like, yes, she may have wanted it done, but her family facilitated it. So I don't know if charges could be brought against Wendy. Leave a comment below if you feel like Wendy is really going to be able to be charged, if you see any solid evidence during Donna's trial. So I get the vibe that the ADELSONs were used to like paying people off that they viewed below them to do things that were below them. So when the whole crew, Katie and her crew, were arrested, they were like, oh fine, they did that. Their hands weren't dirty, quote unquote. Donna, she keeps saying that. I wasn't there. I didn't do anything. She feels like she didn't do anything because she wasn't there in the car with Sigfredo and Luis as they were on their adventures, shooting holes in the ground and through the gas line and missing Dan and stalking him. Because she wasn't involved in that, she believes she's innocent. That's her story, and she's sticking to it. But to piggyback on the prison daughters, Priziana Grande said that Donna was very worried about Robert. She may have wanted to eliminate him because she said he was too honest, and she didn't like that he was privy to certain conversations that would make her look guilty, like not caring and being dismissive and knowing information that only the killer would know. And also, Wendy tried to throw the authorities off by telling her brother that she had a secret boyfriend, and don't tell mom and dad that I have a secret boyfriend. And he's like, what? Why would she tell me that? She never tells me about her relationships or anything. Like, Wendy and they theorized that she was hoping Robert would go back to authorities and say, hey, I know my sister has this secret boyfriend. Maybe he did it. And that is Jeff. In case you guys aren't familiar, Jeff, Wendy's ex-boyfriend at the time, when he was interviewed initially 5 years ago, Jeff said he felt like they were trying to set him up. And he still says that to this day. Like, they were in the middle of an argument, a breakup, but she suddenly wanted to know his itinerary. What time you are leaving? What time will you be back? Where will you be departing from? She wanted to know all the details of his vacation. That was the same weekend that they were going to buy a TV because it was cheaper than a hitman, And I'll be honest, it is pretty gratifying seeing Donna be exposed like that. And again, she's in her diazepam days. She's just sitting there and she's looking lost, really. But it's really nice to see her being exposed. The script that she wrote for her jail daughters, it shows you really what she thinks of people. They really, the ADELSONs, in my opinion, thought they were above, like, society, above reproach. She said in her script she wanted the prison daughter to say, this is supposed to be Katie talking to the prison daughter. Oh yeah, me and my baby daddy killed our my boyfriend's brother-in-law because they're rich and they're stupid. They're so dumb. He thought that I liked him. He thinks I'm protecting him, and I just want all the money. That was like what she wanted them to say. She wanted her prison daughters to say like, oh yeah, Katie was here bragging about killing Dan Markel because her boyfriend's family had money and how she wanted money, making it like Charlie was just this innocent little guy, a dentist who was taken advantage of by the Latin kings. Which, sidebar, didn't Charlie look like he was happy? Maybe when he was on that transportation ride, he was just happy to be away from any Latin kings in the prison. I hear they have been giving him hell in there. I don't think they appreciated being framed in open court for something that they didn't do. That just put their a target on their gang for no reason. So I'm pretty sure now they're not pretty happy with Charlie. So yeah, Charlie. He's waiting for his appeal, and he's going to testify on his mom's behalf. And apparently with him being subpoenaed, he can't take the fifth. He can't lie, so he has to testify. So we'll keep our eyes on the ADELSON trial. The trial will resume Tuesday because Monday is a holiday, so I can't wait to see what's next. What does Donna and her team have coming next week in her defense? Because so far we haven't really seen a strong defense other than, you don't have anything on my client. She didn't do anything, did she? Wendy is the one who really wanted her kids, right? Like, that's pretty much all. It's semi throwing Wendy under the bus, but not all the way. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.